Welcome back to my top 100 countdown. We are getting into 20 to 11 today, so we're really getting high up. The next one, of course, is going to be my top 10, but we're into the top 20. These, of course, are games I absolutely love to play. And starting with number 20 on my list is Star Wars Outer Rim. And yes, with the expansion. Without the expansion, it wouldn't have been this high. The expansion adds so much more. Ala Fantasy Flight Games kind of doubles all of the content. Cool game. So much going on. You're basically playing either a smuggler or bounty hunter, and you're trying to get the most fame. And you're going around the Outer Rim. Yes. And there's all kinds of encounters you can have, different people on different planets. And the gist of the game is, yeah, you're basically trying to get the most fame. And you get ships that you can upgrade to and buy. They have different stats. And the board itself is this big arc of outer rim space. And where are the characters you can play? I can't dig them out here. But you get a cool little board, track all of your stuff. And you have reputation with Hutt Syndicate, Imperial Rebels. And you have, of course, your fame tracker. And you're trying to get to 10 fame, the first one to do it. And it has a fantastic solo mode. The expansion lets you play solo against bounty hunters, which in the original game you weren't able to. So, yeah, absolutely cool. You can see just the mountain of stuff that comes in here. And you can set up the modular board any way you want, but they do have a standard way to set it up. And yes, you can play characters like Han Solo. And I did a solo playthrough with Solo, of course, because why wouldn't you? So that is my number 20 game on my list. I really, really enjoy. And that is Star Wars Outer Rim. Making its way to number 19 on my list of all-time favorite games. 2023 edition. Yes, it is Zombicide Black Plague. This is my favorite Zombicide version. There's a whole bunch of them. Haven't played the space one, so can't talk to that one. But Black Plague is absolutely awesome. Medieval, and yes, I've done this, I think, 7 or 8 times on my channel now. I have Baldrick's bumbling band of adventurers going through all the missions. We're going to finish them all off eventually. And yes, Ala Zombicide games, you end up getting just an absolute mountain of miniatures. And this is all of the character miniatures with a whole bunch of expansion miniatures in there. And yes, you get the player boards that come with this one with the sliding XP. Put your characters in there. And just a mountain of stuff. And it has modular boards. Oh, if I can grab one of these out here. Really nice playboards that you arrange depending on the mission, and then there are tons and tons and tons of characters. And there's Baldrick himself, the Bumbler, and his band. If you want to see that on my channel, I've done it many, many times. I really do enjoy it. I blinged it out with some doors to put on as well that don't come in the game. And then I also have the hard plastic token set as well, bling it out. Mountains and mountains of minis. Alright, that is my favorite Zombicide game, and that is my number 19 on my list of favorite games, and that will be Zombicide Black Plague. In the number 18 spot on my list, boy, we're getting high, 18. It's a deck builder, and it is Venom Assault. Man, do I like this game. It's, of course, a cooperative deck building game. It's a la G.I. Joe. There's a G.I. Joe deck builder. Haven't played it. This one came out before that. There's a whole pile of missions, as you can see. World in Darkness. And things you have to do to complete all your missions. And yes, there's an expansion as well with it. So you have Freedom Squadrons. You have recruits. It's a basic deck builder game. You get recruits, and I think you have assault units. A whole bunch of nice little dice, tokens. Comes with a nice playmat as well, which is huge. And let's see if the rule book shows us the playmat, or does it? So you have a hanger with vehicles in it. So there's, like, show you the game board, but it's not in color. So you have different cards to play. You've got a whole kinds of different leaders, and you have Venom leaders. You have Venom support cards. And it's really when you do an attack action on one of the evil leaders, you actually are pulling cards to either help the Venom leaders, like Venom support cards, or these are your Freedom support cards, and you can just see how many there are. Really, really fun, cool deck builder. Love it. And that is my number 18 on my list of top games, top 100, and that would be Venom Assault. Number 17 on my list is a small box, but it's a big game. Actually, it's the expansion box, and that's a Dark Gothic. This is the Colonial Horror expansion box. What's nice is the original game plus the expansion, everything fits in the little expansion box. And this basically in the Touch of Evil universe, and as you can see, there's a mountain of cards. So the idea here is you're trying to defeat monsters, and they come in different levels, 1, 2, and 3 levels, and they come out, of course, first level comes out, then the second level, third level. You can play this game competitively, which is cool. You're trying to get the most victory points. You can play it cooperatively, which means you're trying to just defeat all 3 monsters, and you can play it solo. What a fantastic little game. And let's see, there's no board with it, but let's see kind of the anatomy of some of the cards. And there's lots and lots of variety. When you get the expansion, it basically doubles the cards. You have a stack about this big, and then when you get the expansion, it's twice as much. I would recommend getting expansion if you can even find this game anymore. Very, very fun deck builder. I guess we can grab a couple of cards out of here. So you're going to run into things like succubuses. You can have a runic amulet. You can get a lightning strike. There's events. There's all kinds of stuff. Magistrate, deadly face-off, tracking the beast, on and on and on and on and on and on. And yes, you're playing against the 3 evil characters, and you got to defeat them all. If you don't defeat them all, well, you lose the game. That's it. That is my number 17 game on my list. A fantastic little deck builder, and that is Dark Gothic. Alright, making its way to number 16 on my list. Yes, of course, another deck builder. That is Legendary Encounters Alien. Nobody can hear you scream in space. Alright, yes, it's a checklist of all the cards. And I do not have the expansion for this one. People have told me it is fantastic. I will probably get it one day. I'm not going to pull out the mat. Does it show us the mat in here? There we go. This is what it looks like when you get it all set up. You got the complex. The aliens come in face down. You have to scan to find out what they are. That introduced this in this game, that kind of mechanism. Very cool. And it's basically 4 movies. The first 4 movies you can play in the base game, and they're all really, really fun. And yes, so you got your starters, you got your, there's all the you got your grunts. So grunts are basically your basic hand. They give you like 1 attack, and the specialists give you 1 run recruit. You're trying to buy better cards, of course, and so there's like the first movie, second movie, third and fourth movie, and that's about it. It's not much to say. There's not much to show you with deck builders unless I pull out a whole pile of cards. Super fun deck building game. One of the absolute best Legendary Series games in my opinion. That's my number 16 on my list, and that's Legendary Encounters Alien. Okay, coming in at number 15 on my list. Oh, I love this game. It's a tough one to get to the table, but it's fantastic. And that is level 7 Omega Protocol. And I do have the expansion for this as well, which adds another entire campaign. This is the expansion. And so I also have the second edition. I had the first edition originally. I actually have 2 copies of this because I love it so much. So the gist of this game is you have missions to go on, obviously. Let's have a look and see here. Mission guide. And I've done the first couple missions. And you basically have a board set up a la like this. This is the mission 2. I've already done this one. And it's a 1 versus all. So you have 1 person playing the aliens and up to 4 other people playing the Marines that go in. And the miniatures have not been fantastic, and a lot of the versions are kind of bent and whatever, but you can fix them with some hot water. You got your Marine characters, and there's some, I mean, the aliens have really cool abilities. This is a tough game. This is a very, very tough game to beat. And you can see kind of the little panels that you set up for the missions. There's tons of them. I think there's 9 missions in the first scenario. There's an epilogue. Kind of grotesque, cool. Yeah, there's mission 9, A Good Day to Die. That sounds very Star Trek. And yes, I have a Plano box with all the stuff. And there's some neat dice you roll. There's black and red ones. There's all kinds of tokens. You can find things in the facility to help you out. You actually deck out your character when you start as a Marine. And you can actually do things like have him have flashlights, or have him have grenades and all kinds of different things. The aliens have special abilities. There's an entire thing I can't pull out here to show you, but the aliens get a modular trackboard, and they spend adrenaline. So you have to spend adrenaline as your hero to actually perform actions, and then the alien player takes that adrenaline and performs alien actions. Really cool system. So if you don't do a lot on your turn, the aliens can't do a lot on their turn either, but you have a mission to complete, so you have to do that. Anyway, fantastic one versus all game. It's my number 15 game on my list, and that is Level 7 Omega Protocol. Alright, coming in at number 14 on my list is a Star Trek game. Yes, it is. Oh god, Star Trek Fleet Captains. Can't even get the thing in the camera. Alright, this is a huge game. It is very, very fun. It comes with all of these models, believe it or not. And you basically start out, you have a command post, and you can play to a certain amount of victory points is how you set up the game. And as you can see, there's an absolute mound of models. So here's the USS Enterprise. Of course, why would you not want to have the USS Enterprise as part of your team? Now they cost certain points to have them in there, and you have the Klingon fleet, and you have I have paper clips. Why? Because I use paper clips on the ship cards themselves instead of the ones they provide. It doesn't wreck them. So there's a whole pile of cards in here. You're basically trying to get the most victory points. It's a player versus player, and there's just all kinds of different ships you can have. The Rotaran. Really cool models. If you could paint, they would be fantastic. And you're basically going to be going out, doing a whole bunch of missions. Some of them might be attacking other players. Some of them might be exploring space, building space bases. There's many different ways to get victory points in the game. First one to get the most victory points that you decide on at the start of the game will win. And you can make the board as big or small as you want as well. There's hexagon tiles. They're in here somewhere. I think they're underneath here. I'm not going to pull everything apart. Oh, they're right here. So the hexagon tiles. And they have different things like different planets. They have like supernovas, they have a whole bunch of stuff. You have an encounter. If you roll a d6, you get an encounter on a 1. Encounter cards are this huge deck with cool things that can happen to you. Just a very cool game. And that is a 1 versus 1 game. And that is my number 14 game, Star Trek Fleet Captains. And yes, it has a couple of expansions. It has Dominion, it has Romulan expansion. I have them both. I'm going to have to play this again on my channel. Number 14 on my list, Star Trek Fleet Captains. Alright, number 13 on my list. Oh, I got a lot of content for this one, and that is, holy god, I can hardly lift it. Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. Yes, people were wondering, well, where is it on your list? Here it is at number 13. And I have, of course, they tell you the conversion kit, how to convert 1st edition to 2nd. You got your rules. It's an app-driven game. That's why you can play it solo. It's a fantastic solo game. I've done it here on my channel. I should probably do it again. So you got the digital app. You can use your iPad, your phone, your computer, whatever you like. This has a little Play-Doh box. It's got all the different tokens you're going to need in the game. And then you have a mountain. Like this is from, I don't know, this is like 6 inches deep of tiles now because I have a lot of the expansions. So this is a dining car. There's all kinds of these things. So you build up the mission. All of the app's going to tell you, and I forget how many missions there are now. There's probably, I'm going to say with all the expansions, there's over 20 different missions. And you end up getting like fishing net. You can get a whole bunch of items to find. And yes, it comes with all kinds of miniatures. And of course, I've written the names and all the characters on the bottom. These are all the characters you can play. The other box I showed you has got all the monster miniatures. Mr. Lyso spells, etc. And of course characters you can play. They have a bunch of stats out of the Fantasy Flight sort of Cthulhu games. You begin with the Storm Spell of Spirits, and you can see there's lots and lots of characters actually too of these. So it's an app-driven, very thematic, very extremely well done game. And that is my number 13 game on my list, and that would be Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. All right, all the way up, number 12 on my list. It's such a heavy box, I'm not going to try and lift it in and knock the camera over, so watch it magically fade in here. And there it is, number 12 on my list, Thunderstone Quest. Oh my god, I don't know if I can get the lid off this thing. These boxes are like 10 inches deep, and I have two of these completely full because I have all of the extra content. Oh my god, there's so much. And it's a deck builder, so yes, lots of cards. There's lots of scenarios I have not even gotten into yet. Ripples in Time. And each of the scenarios, of course, comes with mountains and mountains of cards, a la Thunderstone. But it's Thunderstone Quest, so you can... I really love the Barricades solo mode. That's what pushed this up so high for me. And you have your little player card. You have actual hit points, and it gives you a card hand limit. So the more damage you get, the less cards you can have in your hand. Shows you what you can do in the village, what you can do in the dungeon. In this one, you can go to the village and then go to the dungeon. You're trying to defeat a big bad, and there are a ton of them. And I can't really dig them all out because this is just such a massive, massive game. Oh my goodness. Alright, that is my number 12 game on my list as I try to move things around here. Number 12 on my list. People were wondering where it is. Well, there it is. Number 12, Thunderstone Quest. And coming up last today on my list at the spot number 11. Oh man. Yes, another deck builder, of course. And that would be Shadow Rift, 2nd edition. Oh man, I like this deck builder so much. Obviously, it's up here at number 11. And yeah, so you've got a town board that is set up. And you're basically trying to defend your town from a bunch of big bads. And the big bads can be anything from, let's have a look here, necromancers, demons, drow, stormlords, fire dragons, the Glacian, Venom Brood, Restless Dead, lycanthropes, Harrowwood. And so you get yourself a basic card. It's totally co-op, and you're trying to defeat the monsters as they come out. And of course, they're trying to destroy you. If your town ever ends up with all corpses, you lose the game. So that's kind of what you're trying to not have happen. And you have to either build all of the 8 fortification structures for your town, which will ward off all the evil, or you have to open or close the amount of shadow rifts depending on player count. I love playing this thing two-handed solo. It's a fantastic deck builder. It's got such cool mechanics to it. That is my number 11, Shadow Rift 2nd edition. All right, that's my list for this week. Next time, we are into my top 10 games, 2023 edition. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, likes. Yeah, this was my 20 to 11. Like I said, next time, 10 down to 1. All right, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.